But him going 7 innings of 3-hit ball, of shutout ball against the White Sox, like any pitcher in the league does that against them because they're that bad.
Luis Gil didn't.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedon and use all lowercase Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. With me, as usual, is my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian.
Stacey, what's going on? Back to normal.
Yeah, my heartbeat's back to normal as we record this because that ninth inning was frightening. It was frightening. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you're still subscribed because as we've been saying all week, people are letting us know that YouTube is unsubscribing them. So just make sure you're still there. Like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. On today's show, we preview the finale against the White Sox. Even though we don't have a pitcher, we have no idea who it is yet because we're recording this, obviously, the night before. In the middle of the show, we're going to talk about all the decisions the Yankees have because some players are on their way back. We're going to tell you where everyone is in their rehab and what the status is for some of the guys. But first, Nestor on the road.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's the main storyline. I mean, Juan Soto with his first career 3 home run game.
But everyone was expecting this to be a disaster because Nestor on the road, because of the way the Yankees performed the previous game, it was almost like, oh no, they can actually they have a risk of being swept in this series if things go really wrong.
Do you take a lot of credence in the fact that Nestor pitched well on the road because he went up against the White Sox? Like, I feel like this has to be taken with a grain of salt with the way Nestor pitched. And I think they mentioned it on the broadcast, too. Like, he may have pitched well. And yes, this start is good for his confidence. I'll give you that. I don't see much I don't take much out of the start. Like, these games that's why yesterday's loss was so frustrating. Because I don't take much out of these games because you should be beating this team. Like, most AAA teams should be beating this team. So listen, if it gets Nestor on the right track, then wonderful. But him going 7 innings of 3-hit ball, of shutout ball against the White Sox, like any pitcher in the league does that against them because they're that bad.
Luis Gil didn't.
No, you're right. And that's what makes yesterday so frustrating and so pathetic.
That's my point. Like, this is good for Nestor. Like, yes, it's the White Sox. They're still a major league team, questionable because of all the people who are on it, but technically they're a major league team. And the supposed 1A ace of the team couldn't get out of the third inning after, you know what I mean? He couldn't get out of the third inning without pitching over 70 pitches against this horrible team. Meanwhile, Nestor was like mowing them down with no issues. And yes, it's the White Sox, but this is good because he has pitched really badly the past how many starts for him? So
it's been 4. I feel like that he's been just awful.
Awful.
And you've seen every reason possible where Boone's defended Nestor, right? Over the last month, it's been he likes what he sees. The ball's coming out of his hand really well. There was no option given when Boone made his comments too the other day of letting Nestor have an extra day because they tried it with Stroman and it clearly worked. So they were debating whether to give Nestor an extra day, and Yankees had no talk of giving Nestor a mechanics day. So all of it feels weird of the way that they've handled Nestor, and I don't think there's going to be a spot for him in a playoff rotation. I don't think he's going to get a playoff start. Maybe he winds up in the bullpen. I don't even know if that happens necessarily. So I don't know what Nestor's future is, but I mean, they need him to get on track just for the remainder of this season because he's going to have important starts. And again, these games against the White Sox, we talked about how embarrassing yesterday was, but the Orioles lost again today to the Nationals, and it gives the Yankees another advantage of getting a win with the Orioles losing. But, the Orioles can catch ground on the Yankees. And I think that the more and more this happens, you need to win these less important games. Because when you play important games against the Orioles like they have later on in the season or against tougher opponents, these White Sox games are going to matter. So, yes, yesterday's game is very frustrating to give up. I just personally don't Yes. Is it good for Nestor's confidence? Absolutely. I don't take a lot of credibility or a lot of pleasure in seeing him do well against this White Sox team. It doesn't do much for me. If I was the manager of the Yankees, of course, Aaron Boone will take this and use it as a reason to say how great Nestor is. But
well, no, I mean, he'll say that, but I don't.
Do you or Yankee fans look at this and go, "Oh, Nestor's back"?
No, not in any way, shape, or form. What I'm saying is, heading into the game, we figured it was going to be disaster. It didn't matter that it was the White Sox. Nestor on the road. He's been bad his last 4 or 5 starts. He's looked awful basically all year on the road. So people were looking at this as a game where, oh no, they can actually lose 2 in a row to the White Sox. I don't think anyone had any confidence in Nestor Cortes doing anything good against the White Sox tonight, which my point is he did.
The White Sox.
Right. So, I'm happy with the 7.
His next start will be next week against Cleveland. And it's at home, which where he generally statistically pitches better. Let's see how it looks in that start. Because that'll prove something to me. And again, I don't think he's necessarily in line to be a playoff starter in the rotation, but he could definitely be a long relief guy in the bullpen for the postseason. And let's see if he becomes that. Yeah. Because, he can prove that over the last month and a half, no? If he pitches really well and catches fire, it's the same argument we've made with Peraza. If he comes up and plays well, which I believe they're expecting him to come up at this point now with the Chisholm injury, which we'll get into.
We'll see.
I would think they'd call Peraza up. Who knows? I mean, I've heard.
You would think, but you've
heard rumblings. I know today I heard a couple rumblings of Ahmed Rosario being a quick signing because the Dodgers just released him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a sign they'll necessarily go after. But we'll see. There's going to be a corresponding move coming some point once they officially place Chisholm on the IL. But again, these guys are all at the point now where they're going to be competing for postseason spots on the roster. And if Nestor pitches well over the last month and a half, just like if Peraza gets called up and tears the cover off the ball the last month and a half, that can absolutely get them on the playoff roster. So there is something for Nestor to play for. I look forward more to seeing how he pitches against Cleveland than taking a lot out of the White Sox star. I know what you're saying. I'm not saying that you're saying Nestor's back. I'm just saying I'm going to take a lot more out of what he does against Cleveland rather than what he does against the White Sox.
Sure. But I'm extremely happy with this because I was not expecting this at all. 7 innings, no matter who it's against, for Nestor is like amazing because he hasn't been able to do that. And no walks and no runs and the 9 strikeouts. Like, he looked comfortable. And apparently he historically pitches pretty well in Chicago. At least as a Yankee, he's done well against the White Sox for some reason. The bullpen.
Well, this is in stark contrast. That's what I was going to say to you, though. This is in stark contrast to what the bullpen did.
Right.
Because it gets worse and worse with them.
Whew. I tweeted out when the bases were loaded. I said, oh my God, this is going to be the worst loss of the season. This is going to supplant last night and become the worst loss of the season if they lose this game. I was like, Jake Cousins, please just pitch out of your mind or try to and earn your first save. Just please. Thank God, because Mark Leiter Jr., no. Tommy Kahnle at first, yes, and then no. And then Jake Cousins, iffy, but was able to get out of it. But I can't.
It's becoming a major problem. It's becoming a major problem.
Oof. They couldn't beat the Yankees bullpen. I also tweeted this, couldn't beat a little league team at this point. Like, it is just so bad watching them. It's awful. The Yankees have to be up by like 8 runs, and even that might not even be safe.
Their ERA now over the last week is 14. It's just been a really bad patch for the bullpen. The good news is they have reinforcements coming out of the bullpen, which is going to really help them. They need them desperately. This is going to become a problem, though. If this more than anything needs to get straightened out once the postseason hits, because starters don't go as long in playoff games. You need good bullpen. I mean, find me the team that's won a pennant in the last decade plus that had a scrappy not a great bullpen.
So the Yankees would have been really screwed if Juan Soto didn't hit 3 home runs on Tuesday night. First time he's done that, which is amazing. So they now have 2 3 home run games this season. Ben Rice did it on July 6th. That ties the Yankees franchise's most in a season. They've done it in 2023, 2010, 95, 50, 32, 30, and 1927. And in 2023, Aaron Judge did it twice.
Wow.
I looked it up. I was like, he did? Have I blocked out 2023 so much that I didn't remember that? In 2010,
I
it
don't
was
remember it
A-Rod.
either.
It was A-Rod and Tex.
Not surprised there.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And Juan Soto also the second youngest player with the most home runs under the age of 25, most multi-home run games under the age of 25, behind Mel Ott. Another unbelievable stat for him to be a part of. I mean, it's crazy because when you look at Juan Soto's stats this year, he'd be the MVP frontrunner if it weren't for Aaron Judge.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good Juan Soto's been.
It's incredible. I mean, if it wasn't for Soto and Judge, like Soto and Judge were, what were they, 5 for 7 combined with a couple walks, and the rest of the offense was like 4 for 27.
What's amazing about Judge too is the fact that he's doing all, like, he's taken him a while to get to that 300th home. Every monumental home run for him, he's got a lot of that A-Rod factor in him. A-Rod was the same way. Every monumental home run, it takes them a little bit to get to. I think it gets in their head a little bit.
Yeah.
Judges being that way with the 300, it's clearly it's in his head a little bit. But the difference is when A-Rod was close to a monumental home run, A-Rod kind of slowed down where he didn't play as well. Judge is still playing outrageous. Yeah, right. he's still hitting incredibly. He's just not hitting the home runs.
Yeah, he's really amazing. So is Juan Soto. It's fun watching Juan Soto. And it's so funny, too, because the first 2 home runs were nearly hit to the same spot. And the fact that he hit them to left is amazing enough. But the fact that he did it twice.
The second one was like 430 feet to the other way.
Like,
that's outrageous.
It's so not easy to do that. And then when he hit the third one, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you serious right now? Like, this is amazing. He's unbelievable. And it's funny when he swings sometimes. Like, when Judge hits a home run or when Stanton hits a home run, like, that it's a home run. And sometimes with Soto, he hits the ball and you're kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, that's going to go out. Like,
it just jumps off his bat. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of the, listen, Judge has been great and his whole career has been amazing. Juan Soto, though, overall as a hitter, it's the most impressive hitter that I've watched play for the Yankees in my entire lifetime. Every at bat for him is just like, it's perfect. Every at bat, he takes whatever pitches are given to him. He hits whatever is given to him. He's an unbelievably incredible hitter.
Yep. So Yankees win. Yay. Wednesday is the rubber game. As this episode goes up, we don't know who's pitching. So we don't know.
Yeah, Boone said he was gonna choose it based on what happened today pitch wise. So we'll see. I wonder. I don't know what I'm assuming they're gonna go bullpen game. They didn't use a ton of the bullpen today. I feel like they're gonna go bullpen game.
Maybe we will check while we're recording before we get to segment 3. We will check Twitter and see if
he says anything.
Crew has anything from Boone about tomorrow. All right. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. Also, reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday. If you want your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday, we do it every week. Or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club and get top priority for Fan Mail Friday. You also get other perks. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions. There's a 14-day free trial. So coming up next, the Yankees have a lot of decisions to make, and there are a lot of injured players seemingly on their way back. We're going to talk about it.
When you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's Popsicle Firecracker flavor, a surefire summertime hit. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Blast off with the iconic summer flavor of Popsicle Firecracker, a festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon lime, tart cherry, and raspberry flavors. Find all of your flavors on the website, from acai berry to lemon lime to pina colada. Tear, pour, and live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It also has 3 times the electrolytes of any leading sports drink and 8 essential vitamins and nutrients. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using code MLB at liquidiv.com. And Locked On Yankees is also brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. And now that the Olympics are over, the WNBA returns later this week, and with stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves, alongside greats like Breonna Stewart and Najee Wilson, you can win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back, and thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast. Host Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, is here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor to get you ready for the MLB playoffs here in the dog days of the summer. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And don't forget that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So, Stacey, welcome back. Yankees have a few difficult decisions to make in the coming weeks. I don't see this as difficult as some may, but so we're going to go over the difficult decisions the Yankees have to make because there was an Athletic article that kind of brought these things to light, but I kind of think there are things that we need to discuss, and we're going to discuss as the weeks come on, but I think need to be discussed right now. We're going to get Clark Schmidt back sooner rather than later. I don't know if they're going to allow him necessarily to go deep into games, but I think they're going to want him to get a good amount of major league just reps under him before the season ends. He pitched so well when he got hurt, and I don't think they necessarily expected him to be out as long as he's been out. But he pitched well enough to deserve a spot right back in the rotation, right? So I don't know if they're going to go 6-man rotation or not, but I feel like someone's going to be the odd man out here.
Well, from what they were saying, he's probably not going to begin his rehab assignment until next week, like later next week. And they're going to have him be down there just for a little bit. So you're not going to see him till September, but it is August 13th. So it's almost, well, as we record this, it's August 14th. So it's almost September when you look at it that way. But he needs to be back in the road. I think he needs to be back in the rotation.
But are you going 6-man or are you going with the 5 and removing somebody? Because I don't necessarily think they can afford to go 6-man rotation right now, right? Like, I think
you look at how Stroman and Cortes are doing because it's down to them. And one of them is the odd man out. Yep.
I agree with you. If they had this division locked up or they were up 8 games in the division, then I would go to 6-man. Give the guys a little more rest and get them ramped up for the postseason. You don't have that luxury. And I think you need to go after winning the division because the AL is so weak and so wide open. And also, you need Heel to be getting constant reps going into the postseason, along with Garrett Cole. Remember, Garrett Cole is trying to still get himself into that rhythm. So you need him to get that rhythm, along with Clark Schmidt. If he's going to be a part of the postseason roster, then you need Clark Schmidt to be getting consistent reps going forward into the postseason. You can't afford him to not get reps. So I think they're going to need consistent play time for all of those guys. And it really leads me to believe someone's going to be an odd man out when he's ready to come back. It's unfortunate, but hey, these guys can't blame anyone but themselves.
Right. So this ties in with the injury updates that we have, because these are the decisions that the Yankees have to make. So it came out, Anthony Rizzo is swinging a bat and fielding, but his forearm is still healing. So he still has a little bit to go before he's coming back and, doing any kind of real baseball game activity as opposed to just swinging and fielding. Jose Trevino scheduled to play on Tuesday and Wednesday for Somerset, which we spoke about earlier in the week.
And I think we can all agree Trevino's lost his starting job anyway, right? Like he'll be a backup once the postseason comes, but his starting job is gone.
Yeah, he was Wally pipped by Austin Wells,
which is the plan. Happens. Which it's the plan, the goal, the future. No one has a problem with that.
Right. John Birdie, remember him, continuing hitting and fielding in Tampa, possible minor league rehab next week. Ian Hamilton, another, remember him? Hey, that's a bullpen guy. He is to resume live BP sessions this week. There's no set return for him. We already mentioned Schmidt. Cody Petit, he's behind Schmidt in recovery, but he's still expected to be an option in September when it rolls around. And then poor Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Yeah.
MRI shows a left UCL injury. Severity is to be determined, so we'll find this out soon. Surgery is not ruled out, so that's just a big bummer.
We'll see if it's partially torn or torn. Generally with these injuries, if it's partially torn, I think what they do is move him to second base, tell Glaber to figure it out. Either play third base or don't play. Or we'll find a third baseman to play, or put DJ at third base. You'll put Chisholm at second base because the throw is shorter, and he'll get the surgery in the offseason if it's partially torn. And because he can still hit on a partially torn UCL. Guys do it all the time.
Right.
I think that's the game plan. And I think if it's fully torn, he can't do anything anyway, so the surgery is what you have to get, and Chisholm's going to miss his entire last year with the Yankees, and the trade becomes essentially useless. That's the risk you take when you trade for guys.
Right.
That's the unfortunate part. You hope that it's partially torn. He gets it repaired and goes to the rehab in the offseason, and you hope he's back by June or July of next year.
Right. Well, see, the thing is,
you can play with a partially torn UCL. I mean, Masahiro Tanaka did it for years.
Plus, it's not his throwing arm; it's the other arm.
Yeah.
So,
but he does need to get it repaired, and you can't really
sure.
hit if it's an open operation. He's not going to be able to hit. So
yeah, but I think
they didn't rule surgery
healing
out.
will be faster, right? Because it's not.
Well, yeah, because you're not throwing on it. It doesn't need to be ready necessarily immediately. I
Yeah.
still think if he got it done, if he got this surgery now, I think he'd be back probably for spring training.
Right.
I think if he's able to play, which I think if he is, the game plan's got to be for the Yankees to play him, right? He's not going to be able to. I don't know if you want him to play at third base every day, though. Maybe they can. But I think you'd have him play at second, and you tell Glaber to play third or don't play. And then I wonder what decision Glaber makes at that point.
See, I feel like this is a surgery situation just because of the way things have gone for the Yankees injury wise. Like, you're feeling good about someone, and then boom, the rug gets swept out from underneath you. And if that happens, does this open the door for someone like Peraza to come in?
I think absolutely. I think you're hearing rumors about Ahmed Rosario. I don't know if that's necessarily, especially with Birdie coming back. That opens the door for Birdie. I don't know which one they go with. I'd like to see it become Peraza. I think every Yankee fan would like to see it become Peraza. With the way Peraza's hit over the last 2 months now in AAA, I think, but again, we know it's a big step from AAA to the majors, and Peraza didn't necessarily kill it when he was in the majors. Let's hope these last 2 years have given him the experience to be able to hit in the major league level now and provide some offense. It's not like he has much to live up to when it comes to what the production they're getting at second base anyway, though. So I don't, I sit here and I think, give him the opportunity. There's a legitimate chance he makes the major league roster, especially with these open spots now. You just got to hope that Chisholm, it's not surgery. If it's not surgery and he can play through it, and then you deal with what you have to deal with in November, that's the goal. Because like you said, non-throwing arm. It's going to affect his swing, though, if it's fully torn. You got to hope for the partially torn results. You'll probably get them tomorrow or the next day. Again, Tanaka pitched on it for years on the partially torn UCL, and he still hasn't had surgery, and he's still pitching in Japan. So it can be done. It's just, you got to hope for the severity to not be too serious. It didn't look as serious when it happened. That's the scary part, too.
Right. But that happens a lot. Like, especially like sometimes when like a basketball player or a football player, someone tears an ACL, like sometimes they just take a funny step and it doesn't look bad, and then you find out that they wrecked their entire knee. It's just like,
yeah, I mean, last year Dominguez, it's the same injury Dominguez had. Dominguez fully tore it, and he just got back a month and a half ago. So I mean, it does take a while, and I guess with Dominguez, it was his throwing arm. He is a center fielder, so you do want his arm to be healthy for his career. Which I mean, it's just one of these injuries that you see more and more. It's Tommy John is generally the injury you see pitchers getting more often.
But Dominguez was back sooner with the elbow. It was the oblique that got him That's why he was out.
The oblique got him, but Dominguez was back from the elbow in June, July. It did take him a while to rehab from it too. He didn't get a spring training. And then he came back for, I want to say 2 games until the oblique got him. But Dominguez was still out for, it's still an 8-month recovery.
Right.
I don't know if Chisholm's necessarily back for spring training. Maybe he's probably back for May, June, So, I mean, it's a tough blow. It really is. If it's fully torn, I mean, you essentially traded for, you're going to get him for a good portion of next year, but you essentially traded for him for a good 3 weeks of this year. And the trade was made for this year, not for next year.
Right. Okay, so Dominguez was back. I just want to get this right because I don't want people leaving comments. Dominguez, for his first game, was with Tampa on May 14th. He injured the oblique June.
Oh, he was 15th. Back for a month?
June 15th, and then he went back with Scranton July 26th. So the oblique knocked him out for a while.
Yeah, well, the obliques, usually you never know how they're going to turn out. I didn't realize he was back for a month in the minor leagues. So he must have not done much.
He was lower, and they were working him up. So that's what it was, because you don't really hear a lot about Tampa. No offense to Tampa. So coming up, we'll preview Game 3 between the Yankees and the White Sox. Hopefully the Yankees will win the series. It's summertime, which means it's barbecue season. Stock up on all your grilling favorites and earn cash back on every purchase when you use Ibotta. So you won't have to choose between burgers or hot dogs. You can get both. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy meal that you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, just add your offers in the app, you upload your receipt, and you get real cash that you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying it by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. And Locked On Yankees is also sponsored by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV Channels app. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Okay, so it's the last game on the south side of Chicago between the Yankees and the White Sox. Have we found out if anyone's pitching?
No confirmation on who's going to start. My guess, though, is it'll be Will Warren, only because he was supposed to be pitching in AAA earlier last night and was pulled from the start before he actually went out there. Tanner Tully wound up starting for Scranton. So I'd assume likely that means Warren's on his way to Chicago.
That makes
And
sense.
the Yankees just won't say anything tonight because of gamesmanship.
Right. That makes sense. I saw rumblings and things that were saying it would possibly be him again. He's like their guy to stick in. Like, hey.
I feel bad for guys like that.
I know.
Because they know after the start, like they're just going to get sent right back down.
Yeah.
They kind of used Luis Gil for this when he started his career.
True. That's true. Because I think I saw him make a spot start, if I'm not mistaken. The start that I went
so did I.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, listen, it does gain you experience. I'll give him that. I mean, there is some valuable experience gotten from it. I just don't know if these guys love doing it.
No, right. Because that can't be fun. You have to fly all the way out to Chicago, and then they're like, all right, thanks. And then you have to go back to Scranton.
Yeah. But getting promoted to the 40-man means you get paid a major league salary, so I'm sure they're not complaining too much.
Right. So the Yankees will be facing Davis Martin, who is 0-1 with a 3.65 ERA.
Yeah, I believe he hasn't thrown much for them for Chicago. So I don't think he's been around like a lot. So the 3 ERA might not be as impressive as we want to call it. I'm just pulling it up right now to see. Davis Martin this year, he's thrown 12 innings.
Okay.
So, he hasn't thrown much. The ERA is not as impressive as it looks for the White Sox. A 3 ERA, that's their ace. A 3.65 ERA. So we'll see. I mean, listen, I'm going to stand by this. It really doesn't matter who the Yankees pitch in tomorrow's game or later today's game. Really should not matter. They should win the game.
They should.
Like, it's the Chicago White Sox. The best you can do now is get out of here with 2 out of 3. So get out of here with 2 out of 3. Stop playing down to your opponents. Beat them up. Move on to Detroit and take your off day on Thursday.
Yeah. I was so upset because Wells hit that ball hard. The one that could have made the game 6-1. Instead, it was a double play. You know, like he's hitting the ball hard, and it's just.
Well, yeah, the gapper too that got caught in right center too. I mean, he really hits the ball in the screws every time. He's slowly but surely turning into a major league, everyday major league player. I think he'll be that by next year too. It's one of those things. Sometimes it takes a lot. That's why you got to be careful when you evaluate prospects, right? Is guys come up in September and they don't play well, and everyone sits there and goes, "This guy stinks." I mean, look at how Aaron Judge looked in his first month when he came up that September call up. I mean, everyone thought Tyler Austin was the future over Aaron Judge. You got to give it time. And Luis Gil was good when he first came up with the Yankees. Was he great? No. And look what he looks like now. Will Warren, he's been shaky. He's been good, bad. I'm sure he'll hopefully be good in Sunday and in Wednesday's game. But regardless, you have to take these games, these players, when they come up and early on in their career with a grain of salt, because it takes a while to adjust. And, people were saying this last year with Austin Wells. He played well when he first came up, and then he struggled a lot. He struggled to start this year. He kind of wasn't in the starting role, really. It was Trevino getting more of the starts. And people had almost given up on him and written him off. And you don't realize, like, it takes a while, because look at how well Austin Wells has played out. He's moved into the cleanup role.
I did not.
You're the only one.
I know.
The only one.
I'm the only one.
Aaron Boone noticed that he was playing well all year.
I had faith in Austin Wells. If you're watching this, Austin Wells, I had faith in you. All right. So, rubber game for the Yankees. Hopefully they win it. Then they have an off day Thursday, and then they start that series against Detroit. Should be interesting. We'll see. One more time, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. And we'd like to thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. Now, go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day. You can find the link to Locked On MLB in our description, so you don't need to search. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, just like we are. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see you after the Chicago series.